Hey guys, okay, this video is about the Romani people, and my connection to them. Where are my notes? Yeah, these are not my notes. That's the wrong thing. Hold on 1 second. Got him. Okay. I forgot that I put them in a container because I was working on a project. I'm making a list of movies. Wikipedia has a great list of movies based on true stories. And I am making my own list of the ones that I want to see. So that's what I had here. Anyway, the Romani came to Europe. They were originally from the Punjab region of India. Shut up. Sorry. But they came to Europe way back in the Dark Ages. They came somewhere between the 7th and the 4th centuries AD. 7th and the 14th centuries AD. So they were first received quite warmly in Europe. They were given royal letters of protection and everything. They don't have a lot of written history, if any, because their language is an oral language, not a written one. Which is unusual because most of the time, languages are more written than they are oral from back in those days. They took jobs as itinerant farmhands, so they traveled a lot. This is probably why the gypsy got added to their name, and we'll get into what that actually means. The original meaning of the word gypsy was Egyptian via Latin. Basically, gypsies were the Egyptians that according to the Bible, trying to figure out how to put this. The ones that didn't want Christ, the ones that yeah, they were against Christ. The belief that the Romani were itinerant Egyptians is where the name came from. The Romani were actually the Dom people. D-O-M. Dom. And as mentioned, they came a Persian word for them is Singane. C-I-N-G-A-N-E. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Which is a Persian word for poor person. Now, Persian is the language Now, see, Iranians are Persian, but they speak Farsi. A lot of people just assume because they're in the Middle East that they speak Arabic. They actually don't. They speak Farsi. So I'm not sure who spoke the Persian language, although Persia was Iran. So that's a little confusing to me, unless Persian was early Farsi. The Romani avoided census takers because they were scared. There are many subgroups as well. And there are those of us in the U.S. who have Romani blood. Now, excuse me, here's where my story comes in. My 10th great grandfather, Augustine Austin Bierce, was a full-blooded Romani. He was deported from England for that reason and sent to the colonies here. And he met and befriended the Indians. He married an Indian, Mary Little Dove Hanoi. And Hanoi. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. She did have another husband and he did have another wife. But they together are my 10th great grandparents. My mother's 9th. They say if you have a drop of Romani blood, you're Romani. I own it. My mother was very proud of it, actually. Now, there are disputes as to his heritage. Some people say he was not, that there's no record of him being married to her. That's funny because there is a marriage record, but because there's an actual marriage date. And somebody didn't pull that date out of their rear end. It came off a record somewhere. And some people will say, there's no proof he was Romani. Well, that's funny, because I just found his parents and his mother was a Romani princess. So, I found them on Ancestry. It's also debated as to whether those are his parents. Well, my mother had his father in. She did not have his mother in, but when I looked, it showed 3 records. Because you can look on Ancestry and see how many records there are. If there were 0 records, obviously don't add the person. But there were 3 records indicating she was his mother. So I added her, and she was a Romani princess. So with 3 records indicating she was his mother. So people can dispute it all they want. My mother knew it was disputed. She disagreed. And you know what? My mother was usually right. For example, we had a last name in the family, and everybody said, no, it's Emerson. You need to correct your genealogy. And my mother said, no, it's Embleton. When we found the person's obituary, guess what? Her maiden name was Embleton. So I tended, if my mother put it in the tree, documented it in the tree, then she had good source to do so. Therefore, I believe that he was a full-blooded Romani gypsy. She read where people said that they didn't think he was. And there were things that just didn't match up, because there is a marriage certificate. So she had enough convincing evidence to put it in the tree. And my mother didn't put anything in the tree without almost absolute proof. So, this was on my grandmother's side, of course. My mother's side. They lived in Barnstable on Cape Cod. So that's fun. And that's why genealogy is fun, because you can learn your heritage. Just do a little research and get the background. They weren't actually gypsies per se, because the word gypsy has been corrupted over time and has come to mean a wanderer, basically, a band of wanderers who go around and they set up camp somewhere, and then they break up camp and go somewhere else and stuff like that. That's what we think of as the word gypsy. But gypsy was a word for Egyptian in Latin, and it's shown in the Bible. I think it was specifically the Egyptians that were against Christ. That particular group of Egyptians got that name. And like I said, in Persian, they were known as the Dom people, which means poor person in Persian. Because obviously, if you're itinerant farm workers and you're traveling from farm to farm, you're probably not rich. And the reason that most Romani don't look like they're from India is because they haven't been from India since, somewhere between the 7th and the 14th centuries AD. So we're pretty well white now. Yeah, I think the people that are looking at that are looking as far as their first spouses and not looking to see that they married each other after, because they both were married before. Not unusual back then. Generally, it means the other spouse died. And there are birth records for their children as well, for 2 children. So, my mother had those records and the proof. Like I said, I believe my mother before I believe any fool on the internet who doesn't do their homework, who just takes it from another fool on the internet, who took it from another fool on the internet. So, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and please subscribe. We have goals for all 3 channels that we'd like to reach by the 4th of July. Bye, guys. God bless you. Hey, guys, real quick. I'm back because I wanted to show you the research on Augustine Austin Bierce that I was able to find. He married Mary Little Dove. No. In 1639. Their daughter Priscilla was born in 1643 and died in 1712. They lived in the Manatee village of Barnstable County, Massachusetts. He's mentioned countless times in the genealogical notes of Barnstable families. I just wanted to come in here after the end of the video and let you know that I do have actual written evidence to back up my claims. So I just didn't want anybody to come and say, well, where's the written evidence? Right here. This is one of many that I happened to print out. This is tracing a different line of the family because this is tracing the ancestors of Sarah May Paddock Ottstott. But you have to remember how many 10th great grandparents you actually have. So it makes sense that other people that you're not familiar with would also be their descendants. So, and just to let you know, he was a surveyor in the area. He also come on. Was one of the only surveyors that never got any complaints against him, which, as the person said, goes well to his character. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I just wanted to add that to the end of the video. So I'm not going to do another ending. Just wanted to add that to the end of the video because it was sitting right here in front of me and I didn't mention it during the video.